the full value and potential of anything. Plant life, crops, the wood artichokes, the ore in the ground, ideas, information itself. Its value cannot be fully realized. Its potential cannot be completely exercised at its site of origin. They have to be moved. You have to find somebody in a different locale. There is not only, has it never been put that way verbally, having to do with apparently affairs out here, but internally, people believe that information, right where it is thought, right where it is heard, right where they read something, and they go blah, 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 and they think, at least eureka. That they apparently learned something, that this opens my eyes. Let me write this down, let me underline it, let me highlight it with my little... All right. Ask yourself, how many times have you done that before you got involved with this? Many, many times. I know you have. And it was serious, though. There you sat in that one sentence, whatever it reads. A man with a wooden leg should not need a compass. My God. And quick, you've got to get something. You have to write it down. You repeat it. But no, it's not just funny. At the time, you can tell that means something. This has the potential to change my life. And at that moment, if there was a way for me to gauge it for you, I could admit that at that moment, there is such a potential. That there was a biochemical change in your brain at that moment. And you write it down and you underline it. How many times have you done that in your life? And what happened? Nothing. It's like you look back later, an hour later, the next day, and you pull it out, and it's sort of sad. From a revolutionary view, something happened. It was. You look back. Maybe some of you started keeping diaries of your great thoughts. And you look back a week later, and you can really tell, why the hell did I write that down? I'll tell you why. If you do not move it from the site of its origin, its value, its potential cannot be realized. It has no more real value. It has no more exchange value, which is, of course, what we're talking about, of getting energy moved inside of you. It has no more exchange value than it does for this small family living in a cave, and gold is just laying around on the surface. It has no value to them. It can have a little bit. But the full value, the potential of anything cannot be fully realized. It can't even get up to a good ratio of realization unless it leaves its site of origin. There is just absolutely no way that the ordinary intellect can in some way stumble upon that. Of course, I've got some doubts how many of you are going to be able to use it immediately. But the information, things that, I don't mean just that you got from me, but things that enough of you laughed, and you on tape, I heard you laughing, that you have written down, underlined, kept books. One sentence, you just had to, you wrote it on your palm of your hand or something, and went, and it may have lasted 4 or 5 minutes. That you just knew. In fact, I'm getting so excited that you had to fold it and put it away. Maybe I'll go out to run or walk around the yard. But, I'm getting close. I'm getting close. And you look back, and it's, what the hell do I think that was so important for? If you leave the information, if you leave even a small explosion in your own neural system, right where it happened, it's going to have the same value to you that gold does after a day or so, or artichokes do after a day or so, to this captive family, this group of people in the cave, and the stuff. Doesn't matter what it is, the stuff cannot be fully realized. It is going to be of just minimal value, if any. Now, that should be real easy to see. It should be real easy to see when I'm talking about gold and artichoke, iron ore. Whatever you've got right there, its value is going to be minimal, if any. just after a short period of time, hours, days at the most. It has got to be moved. That's what trade is. That is the whole basis of economics in the world. People that are afraid of economics, that's it. You just got to move the stuff. That's what all trade is. It's what all bank deposits, it's what all savings accounts, what everything. Why do you take your money to a bank? And don't come up with some reason that I've just told you why. Even debts cannot be fully realized unless they're moved. Money has no value unless somebody else owes you. Seems to be one of the strange things I hear people try and debate, and I see big old books on shelves and bookstores. The Instant Guide to Understanding Money, and there'll be like an 800-page book. Money's a debt, and a lot of people look in their pocket and they look at money and they think, well, boy, I got this whole roll of, I got $1,000 in my pocket or whatever. Boy, I feel great. And they keep wanting to look at it and they want to check and they wonder, what is this? It is a debt, but you can't owe yourself. You got to have somebody else owe you. A bank, the government. Even debts got no value until they're moved. Think about that. If you think iron ore and gold and artichokes and watermelons are obvious, even debts, things that almost appear to be a negative entity, have no value until they're moved. I'm going to get around to saying some more about the ad hoc maps in a minute now, because that's what I wanted you people, I was going to leave most of this, some of this, as much as you can find with you to piece together. Can any of you get a glimpse of this? That there is nothing that you apparently can hold on to, that you can possess, that you can grasp, that you can clutch to in a singular, isolated, protective way. Your own idea, your own debt, you can't owe you. You can try all this, but the value will stay at a minimal level. If at that, it can reach a point that it actually got no value. You can hold on to something too long, and then you try to swap it in, you try to take it to a bank, you try to give it to somebody else. And you hold on to it long enough, and you won't even find anybody who will go, well, if you'd have caught me last week or a year ago, I don't know, I'll pass. You can end up with something that had value, not only to you, but you could have traded it. And you try and hermitize it, whatever the hell that means, but I visited South California one time, and so I can make up terms. If you hermitize something, if you hold it to your little self long enough, even what minimal potential value it had, I suggest to you, can drain away. Can any of you catch any sort of glimpse of the potential personal impact of this, that anything you try to hold on to, anything that you believe is singular with you, anything that you feel, I can just keep making up terms because there is no specific one, anything that you feel uniquely protective of, you will never realize its value. You may kill it. You may hold it so close, so dear, so close to the vest that your cards, the hand that you got, that you think, I can sit here forever with this hand. The game can change. You may sit there and think, I got a hand, and you sit there long enough, and finally you say, well, now's the time to play the hand, and you lay it down, and suddenly the dealer or somebody they say, sir, we stopped stud poker about 2 hours ago.